Video is going to be about the boss we just did on PTR, Iron Reaver. Everything I learned from today I can apply to the what do you call it? The abilities that are here on the screen. It can tell you exactly how they work and how you avoid them. And let's just get to it. I'm going to go over this piece by piece, slow motion wise. There we go. I don't know why I'm going over the air phase first, but hopefully I scroll back up. Yeah, go back up there. Come on, dum-dum. Come on, there we go. So there's obviously a lot of different abilities for one of the early bosses in the instance. I think it's quite a few abilities, but it's overall a pretty simplistic fight. The unstable orb I really have no interaction with because I believe it's only a range thing. I have not seen any go to melee, but I believe an orb goes to one of the range and they just spread out and then avoid the damage of it. And it gives you a stack, so you definitely want to get out of it as fast as possible because they do stack up. And then you have the immolation is just patches of fire on the ground, really nothing to worry about there, just avoid the fire. Barrage will cause these to occur, and I think he randomly puts them out as well around the room. Artillery is the main mechanic of the fight, both in the air phase and in the ground phase. In the ground phase, he only puts it on tanks. It goes out pretty quickly, and the tanks are kind of complaining about it. I think they might fine-tune the ability a bit more, but basically you get it as a tank, the other tank taunts, and you run out with it. You might have to. I think they were waiting to taunt because I think the taunt DR was incurring because they were taunting too much. So I think you have to wait a bit, then you have the tank taunts, and you run out with it. It's pretty long debuff. I think it's like 10 seconds or so, the actual debuff of it. It hits for quite a bit of damage, and I believe it's like a 30-yard range from the explosion. So if you get hit by this as a DPS, like a melee or something, you'll probably die. I've cheat death many times on this because there was some times where the tank got it and there was no arrow or debuff and it blew up on melee. So every time that happened, I cheat death because I didn't know it was occurring. The other main mechanic is barrage. It's an ability that everyone has to deal with. The boss well, you'll see what the boss does. He takes a couple steps back and he does a frontal cone in a random direction. He'll pick direction, he'll turn around towards that direction, and then take a few steps back and then do a what was it, about 3 or 4 second cast, I believe, and you just got to get out of the way of it. It'll spread fire, and if you're in the wake of it, it'll pretty much kill you, but afterwards it'll spread fire from where it went. The other ability is pounding. That affects the whole raid. He just pounds the floor just like XT or Hellfire Reaver or whatever boss you want to talk about, that just pounds the floor and just does nature damage. It is cloakable, immunable, obviously. And then you have Blitz, which I've not yet clicked on. Come on, get to the Blitz. Okay, there it is, Blitz. It'll just charge a random direction. You can control this by having your raid grouped up. It'll blitz towards a certain direction, and then blitz back towards another random direction. After it's completed its first charge, it'll charge back. So I'm not really sure how the charge back works. I think it's another people at range, so maybe the tank or the melee that were standing far away from it, it'll charge back to one of them at random. You don't want to be picked up by this. It applies a debuff, plus you'll be dragged through the fire. So not a good idea to be picked up by that. And in the air operation, boss takes like no damage, 5% damage, compared to 100% damage. So getting dots on him beforehand or sticking on him for longer or chasing him around the room really doesn't do you any good. It's really pointless idea, so don't do that. You have the immolation still from the first phase. That's still in effect that he does now. The artillery now, however, will target random players and not just a tank. And I think 3 go out at the same time. These are immutable. However, it's a little tricky. You can definitely immune to damage of them, but if you're really careful, I don't know if they'll change it, but it's been some, things like this happen all the time with like cloak of shadows or whatever. If you cloak it just at the right time, it'll immune the entire effect of it. So like as it's going out, not like while it's in the air, but right before it goes out in the air, you'll see, maybe I'll find an attempt where you cloak it and you just avoid the ability entirely. They'll just say immune, and you'll avoid the ability entirely. If you cloak before it goes off, or while it's in the air, you'll immune the damage, but it'll still explode, which means you have to get out. You should get out anyway, just to be careful, but you'll avoid it entirely if you do it the right time. The fire bombs, which I'm hovering over right now, it just swirls of a fire that go on the ground. You don't get hit by it. It spawns a fire bomb right after the little explosion goes off, and you have like a million seconds, I was gonna say, to kill these fire bombs. They're very, very easy to kill. You want to keep your shit. You want to keep your group kind of clumped up for those fire bombs, so you can shit. Now I'm gonna have to try to find this again. For those fire bombs, so you can easily find them and or you know, multi-dot them or whatever you want to do, because some of them can be in the fires and the melee can't get to them. Alright, great, found it again. And then you have fuel streak, which is basically don't stand in the fuel streak, it'll just slow you. And you'll have the falling slam, which he does when he transitions back. The transition, the air phase lasts about a minute. It really isn't very long. It's kind of underwhelming, there's not much going on. Just don't stand in fire. The fire that's on the ground on Heroic really didn't do much damage. Kill the bombs and make sure you be careful and when you have artillery to get away from the raid. The only thing you really have to heal is that artillery damage that people take or if people step in fire. It's really simple. Let's go through the fight. I'm going to try to find a good attempt. I don't want to use the first one because we didn't really know what the fuck we were doing. Alright, hopefully this is a good attempt. You know what, let's go a little further. Pretty much every single attempt we did, I got artillery, so I can definitely show you how I immuned it. Matter of fact, that was the moment where I got it. There we go. I just did it. I just did it perfectly. I'm just gonna jump forward and show you this because I found it. So, use the fire bombs of the phase 2. I'll call it the air phase. Simply kill them. They're so easy to kill. You saw that I ran through the fire. It doesn't do much damage. With 11k a tick, not much damage. This is the slick is not like you'd think it would be black or something. It's like blotches of red. It just okay. Now I have the artillery. Here we go. I'm gonna run out with this artillery just because that's what you should do, is get away from people. I ran out way too far. It doesn't matter. But here we go. 0 seconds left in the artillery. It goes down to 0, and I'm gonna cloak. It's actually just coming off cooldown. I'm gonna cloak as the debuff is at 0. Because I cloaked, this is gonna hit me, completely immuning the ability. Didn't explode, didn't do anything. Just did nothing. I don't know, what was that explosion over there though? I don't think that was my explosion. Was somebody else there? Maybe it did go off. Maybe I did hit it a little bit late because it did come off cooldown like right at the right time and I was spamming it. Let's double check. No, that's somebody else's artillery going off there. That couldn't have been mine. Or maybe that's not artillery at all. I don't know. Either way, that's pretty much how you do it. Let's go to the beginning of the fight. Alright. Look at Kura, this is following. Awesome. Snow goes on my realm and I can't see him. There we go. It's going to take a minute because I know we're talking about some dumb stuff. Alright, here we go. Again, the boss HP, I didn't explain this, boss HP on PTR was really high for either no good reason or because they intentionally don't want you to kill the boss. But in any regard, again, never sitting in front of the boss because you're gonna have to dodge. The tank is gonna get artillery on him over and over again. One of the tanks are gonna get it, so definitely want us to give them enough room to do what they want to do. Here's the first mechanic. It is barrage. You can see the cast bar over here. And again, the frontal cone, he steps back a few yards and he's going to barrage. And anyone gets hit by that, look at our warlock here, just got hit by it. That is not good. And one of the tanks that had artillery just ran out with it, I believe. So you can see he's really far away. Troxism as a debuff. He's greater than 40 yards from me, actually. He got hit with it. And here's the pounding, which everyone's taking AoE damage from the pound. And it doesn't seem to do too much, but I believe if the raid has debuffs, and you're healing through that and the pounding, it can be quite a bit of damage. So I wish you guys can see the artillery on the tanks. We had a bug on the PTR where the tanks, or sorry, not the tanks, but random people were just invisible. Like, I can't, this is not even a person. It looks like no one's tanking the boss because there's just a bug on the PTR. But here's the other mechanic, Blitz. This is the one you really need to be careful and avoid. The cast bar is short, but the animation is takes quite long to go off. That'll drag you with him. So if you get dragged through fire like I should have there, it can hurt. I just cloaked all that damage, but that can really hurt. So that's the other mechanic you really need to dodge. And again, that's a random person at range that'll be charged there, and then he'll do the same mechanic on the way back. He'll charge the random person at range. And that was the artillery going off in the tank right there that I was too close to. That's why I just dipped to 0 HP because I cheat death. Here comes another barrage. Everyone's gonna have to move. Like, see, people are staying close to the fire. That's kind of dangerous. Limits your ability to move. The cone is very, very angled. You can see it's a clear angular cone. It starts off small and gets a lot bigger. So the further you are from the barrage, the harder it is to dodge. Alright. The artillery just went off. You saw the explosion. Boom. And here's a pound. See those people that have debuffs, like the warlock, or I'm sorry, the shaman and the priest all have debuffs. Like, they're actually taking some decent damage there in the pound. There goes the blitz again. And after the second blitz in phase 1, he goes up. So he'll blitz back, and then he'll just he'll full charge. He has a full energy bar right here, or rage bar, whatever you want to call it, and he'll just fly up. And he takes 95 decreased his damage intake by 95%. So he basically takes nothing. You can see my rupture, my rupture and my deadly poison hitting for almost nothing. My ammo was hitting for 8. So there's really no point in making sure you re-dot him or anything like that, unless it gives you a gain on the oh, you can see right there, I cloaked it perfectly again. Let's rewatch that real quick. Sorry for rewinding, doing a recording here, but just want to make sure you guys catch that. Not that you couldn't rewind, but I want to make sure I get it right. See, artillery's out on me. My cloak is available this time. Alright, so artillery has 0 seconds remaining. Exactly at when it turns to 0 seconds remaining, I cloak it and immune it. Does nothing. Does absolutely nothing to me. No fire, no nothing. Now, if I didn't cloak it, it would just blow up on me. I would take no damage because I'm cloaked afterwards, but it makes it so the room has less fire on it. It's pretty interesting if you can immune that. You can, relieve a lot of fire around the area. These fire bombs have very little HP on heroic. I can't tell you the number because I'm looking at it just like you are, but it's very little and it takes quite a long time. Now this mechanic is the boss coming back. Again, it's about a minute in the air phase and comes back. You have quite a long time to get out of the circle where he lands and then go back on him and drag him to the appropriate location and just restart the fight, and that's it. He'll do the same rotation of abilities. I think he does an additional blitz in the second first phase. But anyway, artillery out in the tank. You can see him running. That's not the tank. That's freaking odd. The tanks are invisible on my screen. I don't know why. It's really weird, but pretty straightforward mechanics in this fight, but definitely quite a few mechanics for an early boss, and a lot of deadly ones that if you mess up, you will wipe the raid, you will die. So I like it. I think the fight is pretty good for one of the first bosses. And it's on heroic, so this is supposed to be pretty easy. It's not mythic or nothing like that. And we were in full 700 eye level gear because they didn't have the they didn't lower the item. They didn't put a buff or something that changes your eye level. I'm dying here on purpose, by the way. But that's it. That's the explanation. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, the fight, and I'll see you next time, or on stream, one of the two.